This system is about to be reset. Why? Because cryptos are almost ready to be introduced, and they have confirmed it today. From Gold Telegraph, the International Monetary Fund says the world economic order is undergoing a major what, guys? What we have talked about for years, and it's finally happening. Reset. And there you have it. So this comes from the IMF, okay? One of the main puppets within the system. They talk about the global economy enters a new era. Amid trade tensions and high policy uncertainty, the path forward will be determined by how challenges are confronted and opportunities embraced. Right? And here, they say it in plain sight. Literally. The global economic system under which most countries have operated for the last 80 years is being, what, guys? Reset. That's it. That's it. Ushering the world into a new era. Right? Now, existing rules are challenged while new ones are yet to emerge. And since late January, a flurry of tariff announcements by the United States, which started with Canada, China, Mexico, and critical sectors. The NACE's effective tariff rates surged past levels reached during the Great Depression, while counter responses from major trading partners significantly pushed up the global rate. Right, so here they mainly talk about tariffs, guys, but they clearly say that it took a while, right, for the system to be reset, but it's actually about to happen, right? And in my opinion, it ties into XRP. Are we nearing another monetary reset? That's the thing, guys, right? So at this point in time, it's only a waiting game. It is, right? A global debt restructuring will probably be needed and could be part of the big reset. In 2012, Bill Gross, founder of the largest bond investor house, PIMCO, advised investors to start buying hard assets instead of paper assets such as government bonds. This is equivalent of a car salesman advising people to start using the train instead of buying a new car. That's diabolical. That's odd. Does that involve a rolling electrical grid blackout? That just happened, right? Come on, guys. That's insanity, like we talked about before. But it only makes sense. You can't have a new financial system with a old debt system, right? Now, that's funny because debt to be wiped out. So that seems like it's gonna get reset as well, guys. In other words, it's game over. They have no choice but to reset the system. That's what governments do when they are trapped, right? So it's clear as day. It's just a matter of time, right? It's just a matter of time. How long more? How long more of a wait? Probably not too long. I think it's around the corner, to be honest, right? It's like cryptos are taking the center stage. So that's upcoming as well. And a debt jubilee of biblical proportions is coming soon, what you need to know. But UNACE Secretary of Scott Bessent just called for a Bretton Woods 2.0. They already have a blueprint. He's saying the current system is falling or failing. He's telling you a financial reset is coming, right? So they're blatantly saying it in plain sight, guys. Most people won't see or hear this opportunity, right? But if you're watching this video, please like it and share, because in my opinion, XRP is going to be a safe haven asset. It's going to be a hedge against this issue, right? And this is a major issue because when this goes down, I'm not going to say all, but like 99% of stocks, cryptos, and all markets will fall. Only a few will survive, right, during this great era.
Of the Bretton Woods institutions. Yet everywhere we look across the international system today, we see imbalance. The good news, it doesn't have to be this way. My goal this morning is to outline a blueprint to restore equilibrium to the global financial system and the institutions designed to uphold it.
Oh my lord, that's insanity. That's insanity. He just said there's an imbalance, right, to bring upon equilibrium, guys, which is basically the poor and the rich, right? There isn't right now a level playing field. That's not a thing, right? There are the rich and then the poor, right? It's like a huge gap in between. Maybe perhaps it's all going to be leveled soon, right? A level playing field will be brought upon this world. This is a once-in-a-lifetime shift.
But it does feel like we're in the midst of a once-in-a-lifetime shift.
Yep, and they were talking about the financial system is being rebundled around a digital architecture, right? And it was all about what? Digital assets, guys. And they know that, right? That's why cryptos were brought upon this world after the 2008 crisis that occurred. Not before, not later. It was just at that point, right? To trigger the people's mind to flee away from the current system, right? The traditional system, into a decentralized one. And that is cryptos. And this video says it all. It exposes the timeline. This is the take on Bitcoin, Tether, XRP, and gold. You won't hear from any mainstream crypto influencer. Tether props up Bitcoin. XRP was engineered to replace what Bitcoin only pretended to solve. Ripple's protocol is already bridging financial systems, something Bitcoin could never do. Listen to this. He talks about Bitcoin and the bridge between systems, and then the solution is XRP for that new era.
Look, I've talked to the guys at the Black Swan Capitalists. They're brilliant guys. They're two brothers. You should interview them. They're really brilliant. They've done the homework on this. You can plug your nose and go long Bitcoin because it's become a politicized asset. I've been trying to figure out Bitcoin for years. We need another longer hour on this one. For a while, I didn't know how to connect the dots. But Bitcoin is the new oil. There's a direct attempt to inflate Bitcoin so that we can literally take the winnings of that asset inflation and use it to pay down debt like El Salvador. But what I do know is with the Loomis bill, because I couldn't figure out why would the president want to have an anti-dollar, anti-fiat strategic reserve asset? Why would Trump, who hated this thing 3 years ago, like it now? Why would Larry Fink, who called it a scam 3 years ago, have a $50 billion ETF in Bitcoin? It's all making sense now. They're looking for a new source of dollar demand. And if you can make the Bitcoin exchange, which the Bitcoin US dollar is the most liquid pair. So if you can make it a Loomis bill, the only way to buy Bitcoin is through US dollars, US stablecoin. That creates demand for Bitcoin and it creates demand for the US dollar. If you can make those Bitcoin exchanges or crypto exchanges required to hold a certain percentage of US treasuries in reserve, that creates demand for unloved US treasuries. And if you can link Bitcoin to Tether, which is a U.S. Treasury-backed stablecoin, which has more treasuries than Germany does. Well, then by blowing up Bitcoin, creating a bubble in Bitcoin, you're creating a bubble, you're creating demand for U.S. treasuries. Now
Listen, he's saying that this was all a manipulation tactic, because Bitcoin goal, right, and vision was to be away from the system, right, to be detached from the system that they created. But everyone got fooled and tricked, right? I told you, because they had to plan it in advance and perfectly roll out this Bitcoin system, blockchain technology, right at a pinnacle point in time. And that was the 2008 crisis, right? So people went from one system to a new one, but in the end, the system is still attached to the current system that they ran away from. Listen very carefully.
I see why. And that's the great irony. If the Loomis bill passes, they're using Bitcoin, whose entire narrative, as Voorhees said, was to be decentralized, maverick, a-governmental, outside the banking system. The irony is it couldn't be more centralized, more part of the banking system, and less maverick, because now Bitcoin is being used like oil was in the 70s, artificially inflated to pay down U.S. debt and create demand for U.S. dollars. So Bitcoin, the anti-dollar fiat, anti-new fiat, the anti-fiat, anti-dollar maverick crypto is actually being used to help save the U.S. dollar and the U.S. Treasury, not because it's going to be a new source of money in the U.S., a new medium of exchange, a new store of value. It's absolutely being co-opted. And you could argue that it was even invented to do that. Who knows? That's a much longer conversation. That's what the guys at the Black Swan Capitalists have looked into brilliantly. They understand crypto and gold brilliantly. They've done the homework. They've looked under the hood of all the IMF reports, all of what Tether has done, all of what Ripple and XRP's protocols have done. I can take hours on it. It's fascinating. But the bottom line is we're creating an artificial bubble and an artificial asset and calling it Bitcoin and calling it maverick and decentralized. It's not. It's not at all.
Is this going to somehow expedite the development or introduction of a CBDC?
Absolutely, because the XRP technology, the digital ledger technology, the they call it the ISO compliant 200.222 blockchain compatibility protocol, which makes everything interoperable, which allows the tokenization of everything from meme coins to smart contracts to interbank transfers, is all part of that technology created by Ripple in 2001.
Yes.
And when the IMF came out in 2020 with this central bank digital currency, it's all going to be using that technology. So you lose your privacy and your rights. But even the IMF said in 2020, when the central bank digital currency, which is all warm and fuzzy and they ignore all the negatives, that does have a gold component at the very bottom of its chart. The whole thing is still going to be based and backed by a hard asset, gold, not Bitcoin. They're just using the DLT technology, the blockchain technology. By that point, Bitcoin won't be the belle of the ball. It'll just be an asset bubble. But you can plug your nose and go long Bitcoin, especially if this Loomis bill passes. Hell yeah, it's a fat pitch. It's an easy trade. If that Loomis bill passes, Bitcoin really will make a lot of money. We'll see. But it's not the narrative. The narrative is dishonest. It still can be a highly speculation asset, but it is not a store of value. It is not a medium of exchange. It is not a unit of account. It is an intentionally created asset bubble to create demand, ironically, for the very dollar it's supposed to be an anti-dollar asset solution to. So you have to spend some time on it. I'm going to anger half the Bitcoin crowd. I get it. I'm sorry. I'm not anti-Bitcoin. I'm full of speculation. DNA, I think you can plug your nose and go long Bitcoin, especially if this Loomis bill passes. Just be honest about it. It's a speculation asset. It's not a store of value. It's not going to be.
Wow. So can Bitcoin head to like millions of dollars? And will Bitcoin one day collapse? I do believe Bitcoin will enter that new financial system, but I feel like it needs to be get restructured, right? For it to die first. And it's always been Ripple. Today for Mastercard, we announce our end-to-end capabilities to support stablecoins, ensuring payments can be made or received using them anytime, anywhere. Okay, but Mastercard and a connection to Ripple. The set of partners includes CBDC platform Ripple. Then, look at this. SBI Remit is using Ripple's XRP as a bridge currency to allow fast and cost-effective remittances. Ripple is in talks with over a dozen governments for CBDC deployment or development, many of them for cross-border payments. Ripple. Right. So it's clear as day, guys, that Ripple, the only crypto company cited twice for powering blockchain-based international money movements and being selected as a CBDC platform for over a dozen governments using XRP as a bridge currency. Right. So the system will get reset, guys, and XRP will be the heart of it all, in my opinion. This isn't financial advice. Let's see what comes up next. But anyways, that's what Face is. See you.